Welcome back to Mrs. G's Living. On this channel, we focus on beauty, fashion, commentary, and advice. So if that's something you're interested in, please consider subscribing and joining our community. So in today's video, we have a thoughtful list of 20 things I wish I knew in my 20s that cover relationship, finance, education. So the first thing that I wish I knew, or something that I actually practiced in my 20s, is that I started saving and investing in my 20s, even if it was a little. So in my 20s, I was working at Taco Bell's, and I already had a checking account, and I would directly deposit all my money into that checking account, but making sure to put like $20 saved here and there. And the reason is that, you're not 20 forever. So one minute you're 20 and then the next minute you look up and you're middle-aged. So saving and investing now will help with financial freedom in the future, but also it is a nest egg for you. So in your 20s, you're young, you're vibrant. If something should happen, you need a rainy day money, this is the perfect time to kind of save. If you lose your job, you have some money that's saved over to kind of help you in the event that there is a difficult situation that you encounter during your 20s. So start saving and investing now. A little will go a long way in the future. The second thing that I wish I knew is that you will outgrow people. Some people will start on the journey with you in your 20s, and by the time you reach 29 or enter into your 30s, those same people will not be there. And that is just a part of life, and that is a part of transitioning into adulthood. And I would honestly say don't be sad about it, because not everybody belongs on the journey with you. And so not to try to save relationships that don't need to be saved. Sometimes people need to not be in your life. 3 that I wish I knew. I was in my 20s, I thought I knew everything, and I realized that it's okay not to know everything. If anything, you're learning through trials and tribulations. You're learning as a young adult. You do not know everything, and that is perfectly fine. Live your life, learn from your mistakes, learn from the goals you have accomplished, but just note that you don't know everything and you shouldn't be expected to know everything. You're going to learn from trial and error. Number 4 is to protect your peace. And I find that often in your 20s, you let things slide. We're 20, we're young, we may see red flags and we let it slide. Protect your peace at all costs, because you only have one life to live, and make it a great life to live. Maybe a hard one for some of you, but for number 5, your romantic relationship is not your life. Do not revolve your life around your current relationship, because who you are today may not be who you are tomorrow, and the person that you are with today may not be the person you are with tomorrow. So do not make your relationship your end all be all. Do not make your relationship goal that you focus primarily on and not focus on yourself. Romantic relationships should add to your life and not be the center of your life. So if your relationship is not adding to your life, if your relationship is actually hindering your life, maybe it's not the relationship for you. Number 6 is something that I wish I knew and that I actually did more. I wish I traveled more. I feel like in your 20s is the best time to travel without fear. It's a level of freedom in your 20s that you may not necessarily have when you're middle-aged. So I wish I had traveled more. So if you get the opportunity to travel and see places for the first time, see places that you've dreamed of on your bucket list before you start having other goals and responsibilities as you get older, I would strongly recommend to travel. And for most of you, if you are in college now, most of your colleges have study abroad programs where financial aid will fund for you to study abroad. That is a great way of traveling, and something I actually regret not doing when I was a student. So travel as often and as much as you can, because there will come a time where you will have other responsibilities. There may be another pandemic where you will not be able to travel. Number 7 of what I wish I knew in my 20s is that saying no is a complete sentence. For many of us, we are, especially as daughters, especially as best friends, especially as aunts, some of us may in our 20s may be wives, we tend to be the end all be all. And because we are the end all be all, we may be pulled in many directions. It is okay to say no and not overexert yourself. No is a complete sentence. Yes, some people will get mad at you for saying no, but always remember you're no good to others if you're not good to yourself. Number 8, choose people that choose you. Oftentimes we keep people in our lives just to keep them in our lives because they're families, they're friends, we've had long relationships with them, and time again, they show us who they are, and we still stay in those toxic relationships. Choose people that will always choose you. Choose people that when you are not in their presence, they're speaking positive about you. Choose people that will defend you even when you're not in the room and you need defending. So choose people that choose you. When people show you who they are, believe them. Number 9, failing does not mean that you are a failure. Failing is a part of the trial and errors, the learning growth, learning who you are. So while you may have goals, and I know I have goals and I want to meet them in a certain time frame, there are going to be times when you fail at those goals. That doesn't mean that you are a failure. What I typically do is when I fail at something and I really want it badly, I will regroup, restart over, see where I made my mistakes, and continue to move forward and keep in mind what didn't go well the first time. Also, failure can mean that this is just not the right path for you. You sometimes have to assess, a goal that you've created this goal to please others, or have you created this goal because it actually is the goal you want to accomplish? And sometimes failure means that it's just not right for you in that specific time. It may be right for you 10 years from now. It may be right for you 5 years from now, or it may not be right for you at all. But don't look at failure as failing. Look at it as a learning experience and move forward. Okay? So with that said about failing, something I wish I knew in my 20s is to celebrate the small wins. Yes, it's great to accomplish these big milestones, but oftentimes you can't get to those big milestones without accomplishing these small wins. So celebrate the small wins. Treat yourself for these small wins. Any win is a good win. Any win is growth towards you reaching your larger milestones. So celebrate it. And tomorrow, I always say tomorrow is not promised. So while you're working on your goals, your big milestones, you also want to celebrate the small milestones because the little steps count as well. So, and this is one I've always practiced. Comparison is a thief of joy. Even in my 20s and when I was younger, I never compared myself to others because I did realize that their goals and what they want to accomplish is going to be completely different than my goals and what I wanted to accomplish. And I just remember being in my 20s, celebrating other people's wins while others were not celebrating mine and often comparing themselves to the goals I had accomplished for myself, and feeling that they, at that age, that they should have been where I was at 20. It is not a race, but a marathon. And not everyone accomplishes things at the same age. So don't be, and I know I have to say it, especially for this newer generation that thinks 25 is old. If you look at the research, most of these celebrities that became millionaires, billionaires, they actually did not accomplish their goals until their mid-40s. And the reason is that in your mid-40s, you have a little bit more wealth. You've been working for 20 plus years. So you have more equity, more wealth to kind of pursue your dreams and your goals. So what I'm trying to tell you is that don't compare yourself to others and what they're doing, but also note that your 20s are a time to build and grow. And while you may not accomplish your goals in your 20s, it is definitely preparing you to accomplish your goals in the near future. 12, your worth is not tied to your productivity. And this is something I'm still teaching myself to this day, because I grew up in a culture where, you know, even when you're sleeping, you have to be productive. Even when you're sick, you have to be productive. And I did not recognize the need to always be doing something until I was on one of these apps and someone had commented that, you know, in this culture, you can't rest. You always have to be doing something. So I'm here to tell you that your worth is not tied to your productivity. There are going to be times that you're going to have to take a rest. There are going to be times that, you know, you're going to have to take a break from trying to accomplish your goals and regroup. That is perfectly fine. Just note that you are valuable simply because you exist and not because of your productivity. Number 13 is, you know, it's going to ruffle some feathers, but your body is not a project. And what I mean by that is that oftentimes we do not start on the things we want to accomplish because we don't look the way we want to look. So for example, starting this YouTube, I've gained like 20, 25 pounds. Prior to starting this YouTube, I could have said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to start until I've lost 25 pounds, which most of us tend to do. All you have to do is start. All I'm trying to say is love your body the way it is now. Do not wait for a version of yourself that's 10, 20 pounds lighter to live your life. Live your life now. Number 14 is speak up even when you're uncertain, even when your voice shakes, even when you're afraid to do so. I feel like in your 20s, especially for many of us Black women, we tend to, because we are perceived as being aggressive and unapproachable, that we tend to not speak up in certain situations, in certain environments, because we don't want to have that angry Black woman mentality. But there are definitely certain circumstances where you will have to speak up even though your voice is shaking. It is inevitable. So don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Don't be afraid to address some reality or to check a mother. Sometimes you have to do it, and sometimes it's a necessary evil. So number 15 on the list of 20 things I wish I knew in my 20s, you don't have to hustle to prove your value. Oftentimes in your 20s, you're taking on multiple responsibilities because you want to, for others, you want others to see you as valuable, and all it's doing is creating burnout. So don't think that you always have to be in a state of productivity. Don't think you always have to be in a state of checking off your goals. Oftentimes, while you're trying to do all these things, you're trying to multitask, you're trying to accomplish all these things, you're kind of missing out on living life and living life to the fullest. So don't think you have to be productive in order to always be productive 24/7, always doing something to be valuable. Number 16 on this list is seeking help is not a weakness. So seeking help, a therapist, a counselor, oftentimes entering into our 20s, we carry over maybe some childhood trauma or some bad habits from childhood. Sometimes just speaking or talking to someone about the issues that you are encountering, especially that has transitioned from childhood to your 20s, can be a life-saving event. So don't be afraid to seek help. Everyone needs help here and there. There should be no shame, no stigma in looking or searching for help in order for you to grow as an individual. So don't be ashamed to ask for help or seek help. So number 17, trust your gut, trust your instincts. I know sometimes for many of us, the ancestors be telling us things and we tend to disregard it. Trust your gut instincts, because sometimes I've learned that in life, my gut instincts have actually saved my life in many situations. So if your gut is telling you that a situation is not right, that to avoid this situation, don't push forward without assessing why you feel that way, and trust your gut. And sometimes there may not be a rhyme or reason why you feel this way, and your gut is just telling you that this is not a great opportunity for you. Don't push forward. I would say trust your gut. Just a few minutes ago, I was reading an article about a pilot who, before the flight, said he didn't feel comfortable about piloting the flight. Now, of course, there were some people that were upset, but there were some people that understood, like, he doesn't feel well. We would rather you say that now and exit the flight and then catch another flight than you go up in the air and you're not feeling well and then tragedy happens. So trust your gut. Your gut can never steer you wrong. So number 18, don't be afraid to reinvent yourself. Don't allow others to box you in. You may start at wanting a specific goal, and midway through or even accomplishing that goal, realize that this is not what I really want. Don't box yourself in. Don't allow others to box yourself in, because you may have told them that my goal was to do X, Y, and Z, and now you're changing your goal. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about learning from your experiences and then deciding to pivot from those experiences. That is a part of life. Life is to live, to learn, and to reassess. We try things for the first time and we think, okay, this is what I want. And then, so I'm going to give you a prime example. There have always been concerning for me that at the age of 18, us 18-year-olds are then required to make decisions that will impact our lives for years to come. We have been told by 18, you should know what you want to do. You want to go to college, you want to go to Army, Navy. You should know what you want to do and make those decisions. And you find that many times the goals that you had when you were 18, by the time you're middle age, those goals have changed. And so what I'm trying to say to you is that it is fine to reinvent yourself. It is fine to know that if you started here and here no longer serves your purpose, pivot to somewhere else. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about changing your mind to better yourself. Number 19. For things I wish I knew in my 20s, you are not behind. I remember there was a time that I thought that I had to earn my master's at the age of 24, and I felt like I was behind because I actually earned my master's at the age of 25. And it just goes to show you that, especially nowadays, where I feel like this generation feels like 25 is old. And for many of us that are older than 25, 25 is actually fairly young for you to kind of figure out your life and figure out what you want to do for the next 40 years. So you are not behind in your goals. You are trying to figure out who you are, what you want to be. You are becoming the best version of yourself. And don't let anybody make you feel otherwise. Don't let yourself feel otherwise, because we all don't reach the same goals at the same time. And that is perfectly fine. We have to understand, just because Bill and Bob by the age of 23 are billionaires, that doesn't necessarily mean at the age of 23, 24, we have to be billionaires. It would be great, but that doesn't mean we have to reach their goals at the same time that they've reached it. Last but not least, number 20 on my 20 things I wish I knew in my 20s. You are enough. You, at the present state that you are at in your life, you are enough. You are enough. You just need to believe in yourself. So those are my 20 things I wish I knew in my 20s. If you like videos like this, please like, subscribe, and join our community. I am Mrs. G from Mrs. G's Living. Peace. We are out. Bye.